There seems to be two speeds when visiting a place like London: fast and faster. So it's nice to take a break every now and then and slow down. There's no better way to do that than by taking a cruise on the River Thames. It's actually a great way to see the sights. Cruise boats leave from various piers on the river. One of the best known is the Westminster Pier near the base of Westminster Bridge next to Big Ben and Parliament. In 2017, the building began extensive renovations. Scaffolding won't be coming down until the year 2021. It's part of a major £5.7 billion renovation and restoration that will last decades. The building, which opened in 1870, needs virtually all of its internal systems replaced. You can buy a one-way boat ticket to the Tower of London. For a few pounds more, you can go on to Greenwich, home of the famous Royal Observatory. You can also buy return passage. The cruise takes about 30 minutes to the Tower of London and about an hour to Greenwich. All along the way, you'll see famous London landmarks with live and often amusing commentary. The Thames River has played an important role in the life of London since Roman times. You'll see the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral, a recreation of Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, London Bridge, at least the most current version, the Tate Modern Gallery, the HMS Belfast, the Shard, the tallest building in Europe, London's modern City Hall, and, of course, the Tower of London and Tower Bridge. If you go on to Greenwich, you'll pass by the old docks, now the site of some very expensive apartments and condominiums. You'll also see the modern commercial business section of London called Canary Wharf. Most of the time, the cruise boats arrive and depart twice an hour. When you reach the Greenwich Pier, it's a short walk to the old Royal Naval College. It was used to train British naval officers from 1873 to 1998. It's now the home of the University of Greenwich. First, you'll pass by the famous clipper ship, the Cutty Sark. The buildings at the college were designed by architect Sir Christopher Wren to be used as a hospital for British sailors. You can tour the Painted Hall and the chapel. You can also visit the Queen's House, built in 1619 and said to have been the inspiration for the White House, the home of the American president in Washington, D.C. You can also visit the National Maritime Museum and walk through the town on your way to the park and the Royal Observatory. The observatory played a major role in the history of astronomy and navigation. It was commissioned by King Charles II in 1675. Navigation was based on the stars and calculating location based on latitude and longitude. Distance east and west is based on lines of longitude. The first line, or meridian, passes right through Greenwich at 0 degrees. It's called the prime meridian. On one side of the line is the eastern hemisphere, on the other, the western hemisphere. It's a popular place for photographs and proves that you can actually be in two places at the same time. The trip from Greenwich to the Tower of London takes about a half an hour. The boat docks at the base of the Tower Bridge, which looks old but was actually built in 1894. The Tower of London is old. The Romans built a fort here when they invaded Britain in the year 43 AD. The Norman king, William the Conqueror, built his palace here shortly after his conquest of England in 1066. It's still a royal palace. Yeoman warders, also known as beefeaters, lead guided tours and talk about the many roles the tower has played over the centuries. Its best-known role, perhaps, is as a prison and place of execution for enemies of kings and queens, including 3 queens, Anne Boleyn, Catherine Howard, and Lady Jane Grey. Because of their royal status, their executions were held on the Palace Green. Most public executions were held on Tower Hill, outside the palace. The Tower of London is also the home of the crown jewels and royal regalia. The jewel house is guarded by armed military sentries. Not far from the tower is a 38-story modern office building at 20 Fenchurch Street. It's nicknamed the Walkie-Talkie Building. It's also the home of the Sky Garden. The top 3 floors are a public garden with great views of the city. Admission is free, but it does require a reservation, which can be made through the Sky Garden website. The Thames River Cruise, Greenwich, the Tower of London, and all the sights along the river reminds us that travel is the only thing we can buy that will make us richer.